tens of thousands of people have been slaughtered and also chased out of their ancestral homes. Do you still genuinely believe the Nigerian government led by Tinubu could ever or can ever bring about an end to this situation? You really believe this? Even if all what Tinubu asked for in terms of military logistics and funding is provided him, he could never end this genocide. After watching so many videos and reading about it and following up on what Trump said about sending troops to Nigeria, I've come to a conclusion on where the people of Nigeria stand.
Subscribe to Marcus Inspiration.
Yes, hello guys, welcome back to our channel once again. Guys, it's obvious that the whole world is aware of what is happening right now in Nigeria. Yes, we can see that everybody is talking about it. The whole Africa is talking about it. Africa is worried. Africa is lamenting. Everybody wants Nigerian government to address this issue of insecurity. The whole world is talking about it. The whole world is worried. I'm so glad that my beloved country, Ghana is also worried of what is going on in Nigeria. I've seen a lot of videos from Ghanaians showing their concern on what is going on in Nigeria, giving suggestions, advice to Nigerian people, to Nigerian government to find solution to insecurity issue which is taking over Nigeria as I speak to you right now. It is obvious that what is happening in Nigeria is not only affecting Nigerian people, it's affecting all Africans all over the world and every other person out there who values human life. I've seen a lot of videos from Africa, from Europeans, from Asia, from all over the world, sending to Nigerian government, advising Nigerian government and Nigerian people on what to do to solve this problem. Today, I came across a video from our Ghana brother. Hey, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. This video have really touched me. In fact, this is the best video I've seen so far concerning this issue. From Cyrus of Tuntun Network. Hey, this video have really touched my heart. I have watched this video over and over and over again concerning this issue of terrorism in Nigeria. All Nigerian citizens need to watch this video. I'm telling you. I said, let me bring this video to your doorstep so that you can see how he has analyzed this issue happening in Nigeria and his advice to Nigerian people. Let us watch.
Nigeria has to hear this. And whether you are a Muslim, a Christian, or a traditional African believer in Nigeria, if peace and security for all Nigerians is still what you genuinely want for your countrymen, and you aren't secretly in support of the advancement of these jihadist groups, then by default, you should be on the side of any effort to bring about this needed peace by all means necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, Boko Haram and all its spring groups have been around since 2002. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 23 years, and how many have died in their hands as a result? How many times haven't Nigerian politicians used this situation as a campaign message to get into power and then forget about it? This has been the case all along, as tens of thousands of people have been slaughtered and also chased out of their ancestral homes. Ladies and gentlemen, do you still genuinely believe the Nigerian government led by Tinubu could ever or can ever bring about an end to this situation? You really believe this? I tell you this, even if all what Tinubu asked for in terms of military logistics and funding is provided him, he could never end this genocide. It will be impossible for him to do, because I don't see anything about him which has to do with a political will to end it. After watching so many videos and reading about it and following up on what Trump said about sending troops to Nigeria, I've come to a conclusion on where the people of Nigeria stand.
We have no fear of whatever Trump is doing on the other side.
It has come to this one point. It is between Nigerians who secretly support these Fulani and other terrorist groups on one side and those who don't on the other. There is no middle ground in between them. Because if you think about it critically, ladies and gentlemen, whether you don't like how Trump spoke of protecting the lives of Christians in Nigeria or not, or whether you think it will be an infringement of Nigeria's sovereignty or not, ladies and gentlemen. If your wish is for this mass killing to stop, then you would want the surest means possible to be applied by all means necessary. Do you foresee Tinubu do this, ladies and gentlemen? Do you foresee any particular person in Nigeria, be it a politician or a cleric, achieve this? Because I don't. And I wonder what your best alternative to seeing American troops come to Nigeria is. You better say it, ladies and gentlemen, if you have an alternative, because I don't see any other means. President Tinubu will be contesting for the 2027 elections in Nigeria. No matter his health condition or the economic situation or security situation of Nigeria, no matter who will contest him in that election, he will win again, and then what? What will he do different in resolving this carnage, which he hasn't done already, ladies and gentlemen? You may see certain high-level Nigerian politicians or religious clerics grant interviews and speak on sovereignty of Nigeria and the need to protect Nigeria's resources. But that's not what they actually mean, in my estimation. I don't see it that way. I don't buy their sentiments, ladies and gentlemen. I rather see such people as people who are either secretly in support of these terrorist groups or people whose agenda is to protect Tinubu's presidency at all costs. First of all, who should they be protecting the sovereignty and resources of Nigeria from? That is the question we should ask. Is it from America or from the Nigerian political elites who have captured everything in their country since independence, ladies and gentlemen? Who has been in charge or in control of Nigeria's sovereignty and resources all this while, as more than 100 million Nigerians are categorized as living in poverty? Is it America or the Nigerian political elites, ladies and gentlemen? The resources they talk about, ladies and gentlemen, who has been in control of it? Who has it benefited till today? Is it America or the Nigerian political elites? Do not be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be fooled. These guys are only protecting their sources of income and political control of Nigeria. It has nothing to do with Nigeria's sovereignty or its resources for the people, because they have never demonstrated it. Let's put it this way, ladies and gentlemen. If the biological sons and daughters of these clerics and politicians were the ones caught up in these abductions and rapes and murders and displacement and burning, where do you think the conversation will be directed to right now? Do you still think, ladies and gentlemen, do you believe they will be talking about protecting the sovereignty and resources of Nigeria if it happened to their family? So I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, these are people who are comfortable in their beds at night because they know that no harm will come near their gate. And such are the people saying all manner of things on the media in terms of protecting our sovereignty and our national assets. Now, Trump shouldn't be underestimated. If this falls in line with America's agenda for Nigeria, trust me, they will get themselves into Nigeria, whether by invitation or by force. In June of this year, ladies and gentlemen, under Trump's command, America bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites on the blind side of the world. Before the Iranian Air Command and Control knew about it, ladies and gentlemen, it was done and they were gone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how sophisticated and dangerous the spirit bomber from America is. And Trump made sure to mention this at a UN summit just so that all those who were there in attendance, including the Iranians, will know what the U.S. under Trump is all about. Do you really think that America will fear or hesitate to do the same to Nigeria if it makes economic and political sense to them? Wake up from your fantasy with your diplomacy, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the focus should be. Whether the victims are innocent Muslims, civilians, or Christians, the bottom line is people are being killed every day by jihadist groups in Nigeria. This is a fact. Everything shows that the federal government of Nigeria is either complacent in the matter or overwhelmed by the situation. America is exploring a military intervention. And you know that America doesn't intervene for free. They need the oil, even though they are the world's largest producer of oil. Fact. They need the gold, even though they are on the top 5 list of largest producer of gold in the world. They need more timber, even though they are the world's largest producer of timber. America needs more, and that is what they will do. America made demands on Ukrainian critical minerals in exchange for military supplies and financial aids, and also demanded for 50% from Ukrainian revenue from oil and gas. This is what America is all about, ladies and gentlemen. They have negotiated military assistance with the DRC and Rwanda in exchange for cobalt, titanium, and other critical minerals against the M23. And we also know that the United States government, through US aid, was funding these terrorist groups in Nigeria and in other places in the world. All these are facts. That was the case according to their own admissions at the congressional hearing in the US.
Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID.
But this is Trump, ladies and gentlemen. He is the same man who has canceled these financial aids through US aid to all these places. So, whether we like him or not, we have to consider him and his intentions, ladies and gentlemen. Should we continue to leave it in the hands of the Nigerian government led by Tinubu to handle it as a domestic security problem? Absolutely not, because they have never demonstrated the ability to do so. See how fast things are spreading across West Africa, ladies and gentlemen. No way to wait for that. Do we allow for the U.S. to step in and also make demands eventually? Maybe, and the reason is simple. The killings must stop. It must end immediately. Do you know that even yesterday there were 15 new killings of Christians in another village? I mean, the more we want to find a diplomatic solution to it, the further these people are expanding. These are people who have already taken a stand on everybody that's occupying any space that they need. They are resolute on killing and casting fear in the heart of Nigerians until they vacate their lands permanently. So, there isn't time to waste, ladies and gentlemen. We need a stronger and meaner and more sophisticated military force, ladies and gentlemen, against them, and now. They must put the clamp on them. They must be on the run. I mean them. They should be on the run. There is nothing the Nigerian armed forces can do to overpower them, because inside those same forces are infiltrated with personnel who work in the interest of these jihadist groups, ladies and gentlemen. They will feed them with the intel and sabotage the entire operation. Hence, a case for a non-Nigerian, more powerful military force can be made. It just so happens that America is the country to do so now. I say this because I foresee the entire country of Nigeria under attack in the coming year. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be a catastrophe for all African countries. Therefore, whose side are you, ladies and gentlemen? You that is watching. Are you on the side of the extermination of the Islamic Fulani jihadist groups? Or are you on the support side of these same groups? I am on the side of the former. For when peace and safety is achieved, we can all convene at a table again and negotiate on the way forward. But the peace and safety must first come, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cyrus, and this is Tuntum Network in Accra, Ghana.
I'm deeply touched. I'm deeply touched, guys. In fact, the entire Nigeria need to see this video. I'm telling you, entire Africa need to watch this video. Mr. Cyrus, you've made my day. Thank you so much. Guys, make sure you share this video. This video really needs to go viral. Thank you for coming. If it's your first time of coming to this channel, what are you waiting for? Why don't you subscribe to this channel right now? Put on the notification bell so that anytime I post video, you'll be the first to know. May God bless Nigeria, my country. May God save Nigeria, my country. May God bless Ghana. May God bless America. May God bless Africa. See you on the next video.
Subscribe to my